Because I'm on like the firm belief that there's almost no day you can't paddle out there. Mm-hmm. Like I really think if you're on it enough with your lineups and far enough under it and have the right equipment, you can paddle almost any wave out there. But that was one day I wouldn't have.
What about the wind though?
The wind, like, even when it's 30 feet in trade wind?
You think so?
If you're committed and under that chip.
If you position yourself,
it's
like,
harder
you get
for the
into
wind.
any wave out there, I guess.
You could catch any wave out there if you were like...
They kind of catch you.
Yeah. If you'd have to be flawless though. Like it's like freaking free solo. Like you gotta be perfect like on that day, but...
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Buoy Report podcast, where we are documenting waves of energy, from big waves to renewable energy waves, thought waves, and mind waves. Hope you enjoy. Aloha.
Carry on.
What'd you do? Accidental send a text?
What?
What? Yeah. All right, let's start again. All right, 3, 2, 1. There you go. All right, man. Thanks for getting up here. We finally lasted you guys together, and everybody's on Maui at the same time. And I guess where do you call home? You're a man of the islands. I know that. So
I guess this is home now.
So let's do it later. So I'm sitting with audio. I got Tory and Albee, and we've had a hell of a winter. To big wave surfers, buddies, sparring partners. How else would you guys do a little definition of yourselves? Media makers?
Roommates now.
Roommates? Did you move into his house?
Yeah.
Well, we both live at Craig Parker's house. I live with him and his girlfriend now.
Okay.
Or they live with me.
Yeah, how are you gonna? I was like, wow, that was the first time you ever did that.
Well, you guys took over
So
the
nice
kitchen,
on a
bro.
podcast.
It's official? You guys out in the public?
Yeah, it's official.
Okay.
It's been like almost a year and a half.
Yeah, we lived
now,
together
huh?
for almost a year now.
Okay.
I've probably been there like 2 months.
But we've known each other since, I don't know, 10 years old probably.
Okay.
Like surf contests and stuff. He was always a little older, so we didn't compete that much. But we've always just surfed together. And then we shared some sponsors at some point or another. Did some trips over the years, but...
We've actually been roommates for a long time. I used to stay at your house.
The same
Haiku
house.
every time we do a contest in the NSSA. So we've been kind of, this roommate thing's been going on since we were like 8 years old, 10 years old.
That's one of the cooler things, actually, like just the surfing tribe. It's very like the international tribe of friends and the group chats that probably some of us are in, and they're just like, friends are going and around the world. It's a very big world, but we all have these like crossroads of meeting towns and meeting spots. Like
Yeah, we have a group message that's been going for what, 3 years?
Yeah.
Pretty good one. Was it me, Russell, Björk,
Oh yeah.
Nick Von Rapp, JoJo, and Tory?
I think it's longer than 3 years now.
Yeah, we did it like one Jaws flow.
2017 or something.
But it is sick how you like stay in touch with people just from, like, I don't see any of my friends from my childhood, but I still stay in contact with all my surfing friends every time there's a swell.
the FOMO group chat too.
Yeah, the FOMO chat.
It's mostly making fun of Nick Von Rupp, to just be honest. I mean, he's the highlight.
And talking about how great Russell is.
Yeah, that is.
JoJo only calls me when the surf forecast looks good. He's like my fair weather friend out there.
Yeah.
JoJo's great too.
I'm like, there must be a swell forecast, but I see him missing.
He's a very self-sufficient person, though, when he comes here.
Yeah.
I love that about him. Yeah. He doesn't need anything. He rents his own car, has his own like ski setup. He does everything.
Perfect. JoJo's great.
Not like Nick Von Rapp.
You got any extra fins?
Yeah.
You got an extra canister?
Cartridges, fins, all that.
He just forgets everything.
Yeah.
He has the gnarliest ADD ever. He can't remember his name when it's just so.
Fraud.
The fraud. He's just
Von Froth.
head in the sky, but we love him.
Okay. Well, it's April, and we made it through another winter. It wasn't like the best, but I really wanted to reach out to you guys and to kind of just do a little winter recap of what it was, and and how it was for all you guys. So I guess it wasn't the longest. We definitely had that almost Eddie's. We had the almost Eddie and the Eddie day, and then a couple little days after it. But the almost Eddie day was probably one of the best days I've ever seen out there. I think the most perfect. I think the only thing comparable I kind of thought was like maybe the
October,
October. So you know, it got so big, but I think almost imperfect for barrels was that morning of the Jaws contest when you and Kai and Ian got his 10. It wasn't as big, but that morning was so perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
But that was a contest day.
Yeah.
But like, it kind of sits in my top 3 of like crazy sessions that were like kind of boundary where the swell was going crazy. The crew that was on it, there was something really historic that went down. The first one was probably like that first September swell with Shane when he got his huge one.
Yeah.
And everybody saw really what was possible. The second one I thought was pretty rad was when Kai like took it to a next level in that December swell, and he got like, I don't even know, like a dozen 25, 30 foot waves from out the back and got a pile of barrels. And now this one. This one was, I thought was just crazy. So the crew that you guys were with, it basically was you two guys, Paula,
Laurent
was going nuts. He got one right when I first pulled up. It was so wide open.
Yeah.
Billy got his one big one. You're the West Bowl crew. He's at North Peak looking for the biggest honker out there.
Yeah.
So walk us through that sesh. So
you're out first, so.
Yeah.
It definitely smoke screened me. I was on the cliff the night before, and I was like howling north winds. I didn't think we were gonna have a morning sesh.
Surprising. That whole swell was.
Yeah, we thought it was gonna. The main thing I remember was we all thought it was gonna go on shore pretty soon or pretty early in the day, like probably like 11. Mm-hmm. But we knew it was gonna be a long period, and it was kind of north, not that west, which is like weirdly better for the West Bowl because it like. When it's long period, it'll kind of miss the North Peak, and you look at that like easy rolling that those guys catch sometimes, and it just doubles up and just dumps on the West Bowl and just barrels so hard. But if it's like too west, it's like so hard to get an entry. But when it's a little more north, it was like, for how gnarly the period was and how big the swell was, it was pretty easy entries, like considering those factors. But I remember we rushed that morning because we knew, or everyone thought by like noon for sure it was going to be dead on shore and just bad, and like so there's going to be a short window where there was going to be enough swell for it to be good and like good wind. But then I went out first really early.
Yeah, the first wave I saw that morning was you getting barreled. But
you went off the rocks. Everybody went off the rocks that day.
We all did.
Kai, we all did.
Yeah, it's a better. I like that so much better.
I like the rock jump, little get the nerves out.
It just feels like you're surfing. It doesn't feel like you're like, I don't know, going on some weird mission. Like, it feels just normal.
It's a mission to get up the Jaws any which way.
Dude, even just, the Maliko, the skis, everything, like launching, it's such a nightmare. It's like, I love jumping off the rocks.
Yeah, I like seeing the wave too, even scary as it is. And that side of the cliff makes it extra scary because you can actually see
how fast it runs.
Yeah, and how big it is too.
Like, you know when you get to that one spot where you're like 20 feet from the rocks, you're like more than halfway down the rocks, and you can really get that glimpse. You're almost eye to eye with the wave, and if there's like a set coming, you're like,
it spits right out of you.
Really
and
see how high it is.
I remember when we first kind of started going on that side, and we had always gone on like the tourist side, and I swear the wave looks half the size from that side, and you go from that angle, and you're just like, oh my gosh, was it always this big when we were surfing it? And
I
you can kind of see everything.
Dude, filming
was another thing too.
Was the craziest thing ever, because I remember like, especially for the West Bowl, because I remember catching waves and being like, dude, I swear that was the biggest wave of the freaking day, or like that wave was huge. And you watch the footage and like, from the other cliff, the West Bowl bends and you're looking straight into it. So the wave looks like you have no idea how fast it's going, and it doesn't look tall at all.
Yeah.
But like the north ones are kind of facing that cliff a lot more, so they look huge from that angle. And I remember like comparing angles, like once we finally like went over there and filmed it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing to ever happen to like the way I surf this wave. Because you can actually see how hard we have to work to get across it, and like that the west ones stand up just as big as the north ones most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows how big the wave actually is.
And just how fast, like it's just
How
running.
much distance you have to cover
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly.
When you see guys paddling the waves from that angle, it's like, dude, it doesn't even look possible. I remember just like, what? Like, this must just be the hugest swell ever. I don't think we've ever surfed it this big before.
The first couple
The
times.
first couple times being on that side, I was like, what? Maybe this isn't the day. Maybe we can't paddle this thing today.
Yeah.
And then you get out in the channel and, you know,
You're like,
I don't know.
oh.
That's the other thing about like not going from the rocks too. Like, I don't know. Like you said, it just feels like a weird like surf trip. Like you're just kind of not ready for it. I don't know. It almost feels like that first initial nerves of seeing it and then jumping off the rocks and then making it through the rocks. It's like, I don't know. We've always talked about it. Like you have to become like 3 different kind of animals to like surf Jaws. You have to become like a goat to get down the trail. It's all slippery and gnarly.
Crab on the rocks.
I'm a crab on the rocks and then just like a dolphin and a shark in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then a tiger shark in the water. And then you got to do it all over again. You got to keep transforming.
No, but it gets you in both of us, so I assume it definitely puts us in a better headspace doing that, I think. But yeah, so that day we went off the rocks and that helped get the session going, I think.
For sure. I was surprised when that swell, really surprised. When I came from Oahu the night before and I brought boards for Honolulu just because I was like, this thing's going to blow out at like 10:30, north wind, you know.
We'll take it back even further. What about how they called the eddy on?
Yeah.
We were so psyched. And then they called it off and we were just like, God, all these people from Oahu are coming over.
But
like,
nobody came at the end of the day. That was that north
Yeah.
wind.
It was the best thing ever.
Because I went to the basic Maliko lookout and looked right before dark to look at what the ocean texture was. And it was this honking north winds. And I called my dad and our crew. I was like, nah, we're gonna slow roll it and we'll look at the ocean. And obviously, being up here, it takes a little bit longer to get mobilized. But like, I called Billy at 7 just as he was paddling out off the ski. He's like, it's on. And we just went into absolute scramble mode.
Yeah. That was a Marcio blessing right there. It felt like, I mean, every time they call any kind of wind in Maui, you almost expect it to just be
double and like sooner.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that was sick though.
Let's talk about those two Brighton. Like that is what cutting edge surfing is for me right now. Like what you guys are doing and maybe what the Chopo kids are doing, and like that committed under the ledge, head down, going, like you're almost going, I mean, I guess I've seen you pull back on a couple of those ones you can't, whether it's like, but once you start paddling, there's no stopping for the most part, right? Either you're going over the falls or airdropping it, and just absolute commitment to a 20-foot double up. And not only just catching the wave, but actually technically having to surf that wave and make a big hooking bottom turn and get on the wall and navigate a barrel.
Yeah, that day was set up perfect for like the way we want to surf though.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it was like that long period. It was kind of missing the outside. Because sometimes you can catch waves, and you watch people when they catch waves in the North Peak, they can take off, go down, they kind of get over that like ledge, and then they bottom turn, and then that's what, like when they get a good ride, they get a barrel or whatever. But when it's on that West Bowl, it's not like you can't, if it's a good one and it's sitting where we were sitting, you can't go to the bottom of the wave. And that's how that entire like session was. Like you can see it. Anyone who went to the bottom of the wave was just eating shit. It was like you have to like be under it and so committed and like cutting across it like immediately. And it was just like, that day was just like the way it was sheet glass. It was a little tricky at some points because some of them there's like that, that big old step in it. And sometimes you can get it outside of it, but sometimes you pretty much just have to be like right on it. And that was the swell was kind of the size. That was the only thing that wasn't like flawless. With some of them were going outside of that step.
But then it went 30 feet like that though.
Yeah.
Like, I got there late.
At 30 feet.
And I saw that by the time I was paddling, it was already like that 25, 30, and DK was like, just go to the North Peak as a backside.
Yeah.
And I barely scratched. I was literally in the water for like 20 minutes before that huge set that caught Zane in. I barely scratched over it.
That was terrifying.
And I was okay, I'm going to sit on my one boil that I always like to sit on. I had my markers. And I remember the Robersons came by and you're like, you're on the wrong spot. I'm like, no, I don't think so. They're trying to give me shit. And then, like, I barely made it over that wave and it got Zane.
Yeah.
It was Billy had just gotten his probably 5 minutes after I got out in the water, and then it basically was.
Oh yeah, so that was late.
Yeah. I watched that wave. That was so terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched Zane, the wave that
yeah.
like landed on his head, like literally on his head.
Is it weird? I saw it like probably 5 seconds before, and I got like a 10-second jump or whatever, that little gap.
Yeah.
And I actually paddled around the left of it because it was feathering from the west, and I barely got it. It was already like doing this little feathery crinkle, and he bailed, and it just pulled him back. He got through it, and it just pulled him back enough to where the second wave of that set is what actually got him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was like 4 or 5 waves in that set. Yeah, I remember Ian yelling, going, "Zane, watch for Zane!" We're just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, I remember that the end of that day was definitely like a crazy cat and mouse too, even on the West Bowl, because I pride myself in never being caught inside, and I got real close a couple times there. I've had to swim through a couple, but never gotten sucked back over. Not like Tory does.
Did you hear? You got to go listen to it if you haven't. It's Shane Dorian's description of him getting caught inside. It's on the Smith Brothers podcast of him getting caught inside. No, I think it's the morning of the Big Jaws contest when he gets his big airdrop.
Oh yeah.
And then right after that, he misses wave and has to like swim through a 30-footer, and he like took his leash off, and he said he just had to time it, and he's like, I don't know how the thing didn't grab me, but just the timing. It was like Healy describing his paddling and having to get his leash off on a stroke.
See,
and diving way early. He said he dove so early and got like really deep, and instantly was like 60 feet deep when the wave passed over.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, you can go down 20 foot and then freaking a 50-foot wave. It's on your head. You're down there. That's another. That's what I love about having my small board. Is I've done it a couple times with the big board where I was just like swimming through and I could feel it pulling me back, and I was just like, am I gonna pull my leash? But one of them, I didn't have a ski, and I was like, ooh, I'm not gonna pull my leash. I was just surfing with like 2 of us, and there's no ski.
I saw there's a little wind too. They catch the wind.
Yeah.
And they come up.
They can get blown over. Yeah.
Way easier. Yeah.
But yeah, I swear the small board though, I trust that I can pull it through like almost every time.
Okay, well let's pull on that thread then. Small boards. I've seen you out there on like an 8-footer, right? What was that red board? Was that just because all the boards were shrapnel back in the day?
8.6, yeah.
8.6.
Yeah, that thing's still alive.
It's a tiny 8.6 though. It's a small 8.6. It's not like, it doesn't have as much foam as like my 8.4.
Is it a thick 8.4 you're riding though? Like
my 8.4 is pretty
Could you
small.
dip it if you had to?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I can duck dive my 8.8 almost.
And what's the biggest wave you caught on that thing?
8.8? Big.
That was 8.4.
Faces are back.
People always ask me that. I'm like, I don't know. Coconut tree high?
Dude.
2 coconut trees?
That's the funniest thing in surfing.
Who knows?
See that coconut? It's about that coconut tree.
Yeah. I kind of want to measure just my biggest wave just so I know. It'd be funny to have it off the top of your head. Like 53 feet.
Every big wave that you've gotten though has been on that board since.
Well, no, the 8.8, but on an 8.4, I think the biggest, I've got definitely like some 20 footers, like easy. I haven't got a huge one on the 8.4.
Is that thing ASM too?
No, I had one ASM, but I don't really like it.
Retired it.
Yeah, my 8.4 though is like, feels like a shortboard on one of those waves, or it feels like a toe board.
That thing's sick.
Yeah, it's really good. But the board I ride pretty much, for that swell,
Is that the red and black one or the
red and black one is probably like
money board, the one that's made you all the money?
7 years old. What money? what words are you talking about? Dude?
Red of the year? Come on.
No, I've never even I got third once. But anyway.
Was it on that board? It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for that swell, I didn't even know that board was still in commission, and Kai Paulo was like looking for a board to borrow from me. And he like texted me, he was like, what about this red one? I was like, what? That thing still works? I was like, I went and looked at it, I was like, I'm riding this. But I gave him my new 8.8. I was like, no, I'm taking Old Faithful. Yeah. But I've had that board, it's been, every single fin box has been broken. It's been broken in half. Like, not like buckled, but like stringer and all. That was repaired. It's been through the ringer, but like some of those big boards, they get better like the more you do that.
I have a board that's like that. It's just one old 7.6 that just, it's been buckled, and I actually fixed all the fin boxes, and I swear it's just heavier and it just mows over foam balls.
Yeah. Dude, I swear that's part of the reason I love that board is it's lighter too. I don't think super heavy jaws boards are good. Because I feel like the wind's going to pick up your board no matter what. It's not like your board being 5 or 10 pounds heavier is going to stop it from being picked up by the wind. It's just a matter of like if you could push it back down or not. Is my theory, at least.
Have you seen? I mean, that's how Kai pretty much like sails his board down.
Yeah, his boards are super light.
They're so light. He's controlling like
isn't
epoxies. Like he had those old mass ones, and now he's got whatever his new ones are. But they're so light, it's almost like he's kiteboard. He knows how to kiteboard without straps.
Yeah,
and I watched him one time when he was doing it with a stand-up board.
Yeah, he used to do it with a stand-up paddle because you have the paddle to like balance on that, so it makes it like.
But still, it's kind of like those days he was explaining to me, like when you're going out and doing airs on a Kona wind day, and you're just like ollieing into the wind.
Yeah.
Playing with that wind, but he's doing it off a kicker into a bowl.
Yeah.
Super sick.
I try to not do airdrops ever.
Ideally, no.
Because you already miss if you're disconnecting, you're slowing yourself down already, and you're missing the timing of the line anyway.
Yeah, if you're side slipping on most of the waves we're trying to get, that's how I ended up with the lip on my head.
How important is it to have a board that you trust that much?
A lot.
I mean, like, you gotta like.
I feel like your board's too big, dude.
My 8.8?
It wasn't an 8.8 that you were riding.
The 9.4?
You were riding a 9.4,
Yeah.
Dude, that one you fell onto your knee?
Jack stand. Bring it back.
Dude, yeah.
Jack
but there was
I'm
like.
glad you called it a jack stand, not a drop knee.
Yeah.
Did your foot actually go off the back like you're doing like a whole turn?
I thought it did, but I think it kind of just went on the rail.
No, his back foot came off. I was right there watching it. This was like, so at one point during the session, like, yeah, we kind of went off the rails, but it started good. We had started like getting good barrels like pretty quick. And then like an hour or two into it, I just remember there was a window where it felt like every wave, one of us was just getting like the wave of our life almost. And like whoever was on this set was just either like barely falling on the wave of their life or getting the wave of their life. And it was just like, it was on. But like in the middle of that, I remember I just got a good one and I took a break and I watched Tory. He took off, he side slipped. Probably because his board too big. And then he just but he didn't give up on, because like you'll see a lot of people side slip and then that's just it. They're just like, oh, I'm going straight. But he like held his line and was just like trying so hard to get under, and the lip was like landing like right on his tail. And right before he like got under the hook, like a little bit of the lip like kind of bounced on his tail. And I watched his back foot fell off and he fell onto one knee.
Yeah, I was on one knee.
And then you like pushed with your hand and like in the barrel. It was like a 20-footer too. And like got back up and then like stood up and came out. And I was like, did you say you could hear me laughing?
I could hear you laughing. For some reason, whenever I'm either falling or like something funny is happening, I can always hear his laugh. Like all the time. Like even the swell before that, when I was falling in the lip, I could hear her laugh.
It was so funny. Like it was amazing. It was one of the coolest rides I've ever seen.
It was the luckiest wave in the whole world.
No, dude, that was hard work. That was effort.
Mean, the fact that my hand landed perfectly, like in the middle of the board. Like if it would have landed anywhere else, I think I would have I don't even know what would have happened. I probably would have hit my head on my board or something. Yeah, it was super weird. I remember that wave coming in though, and that wave was just like, you could just tell it was going to be that day especially. I mean, if you really committed to a wave and you made the drop and had your line, like you said, you're going to probably get one of the best waves of your life. And I remember that wave coming in and it was so doubled up, and I was just like, all right, this is a good one. Just make the drop. And then I had a wave actually a few years prior where I tried to set the line like that, and it was a windy day, and it kind of, my board slipped out, and then it kind of caught, and I straightened out. And I remember just thinking like, oh, maybe I could have like held my rail. You know, there's always that thing in the back of your mind.
You have time to get under it.
You do, yeah.
As long as that like 50-gallon drum of water landed on you, there ain't no chandelier.
Yeah. So all I was thinking about was, I have time. Because of that one wave, I was like, because I regretted not kind of holding my line, and I got lucky, yeah. But then the lip hit my leg, and then I thought I was very unlucky. But then I got lucky again.
Well, those kind of days are
a couple lives.
You guys are talking to each other too, obviously, like
telling each other go, or you guys jockey like, fuck you, I'm going?
No, we're telling each other go. It's pretty obvious. Like, that's what's so good about those days. When it gets to a certain size, there's no more jockeying because there's only a couple people who really want the big ones. And if someone wants the big one, like, everyone else is encouraging them, like, oh, have a dig. Like, just go, you know?
For sure.
So it was like, yeah, and there were so many good waves that day that it could have even held more people, but there wasn't that many. So it was like, there was just a flow going that was just perfect.
Yeah.
How early on did Nathan get hurt? That was pretty early in the session.
That was pretty early.
Super early.
Because he got one good wave, and then, I don't know what he was thinking going that way. See, that's like one,
full
like,
blinders. Just...
well, like, I'll tell people to go, like, when they're going, like, or like if it's a good one, or if I see that they're committed and they need a little extra push, that's when I'll yell for my friends to go. But that Nathan wave, I just
always a scary thing to do.
Dead quiet. Like, and you know, it's like a bad one sometimes. Like, I've gone on some where like none of your friends yell at you to go, and you're like, ooh, this one must have looked pretty gnarly. Like my best one at the end of this year, no one really yelled at me to go, and I was like, oh shit.
Was that the like chandelier one?
Yeah. But yeah, for Nathan's, like, I didn't yell at him to go, and it was obvious he was not in the spot. But he was full blinders. Like, I think a couple of people had already gotten barreled, and he just wanted to get in on the flow that was going.
He was already saying he was going on the next thing that comes close to him. Remember? He was like, I remember he told me that. He's like, I'm going on the next one that comes close to me. I don't care.
That's a bold strategy.
Yeah. And then I remember, I think I went on the way before and I looked up and it was just like the whole Pacific Ocean was like in front of him and he was trying to like backdoor it like it was like a 4-foot backdoor wave.
It wasn't a good one. Like, I was just blown away. I was like, dude, you can tell it's going to like, it wasn't like a grower. It was like just a peak. It's like,
it was way up on the North Pole, huh?
Yeah.
That landed on your head.
Yeah. It was a lot like that wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was. But yeah, I guess, I mean,
he was so late.
He was committed.
Yeah. That was gnarly. That was kind of like a weird way to start the day too. Because that happened really quick. I mean, by 9 o'clock, he was already done, I think.
Yeah.
9:30.
Well, yeah, I think that was also like a product of us thinking the wind was going to go on shore. He was kind of in a rush. Mm-hmm. Like if we would have known that day was going to last until, what was it, like 1 o'clock?
Yeah, you told me that the next day or something. You're like, fuck, I should have paced myself.
Oh my God, because I remember I was so tired. I got like 5 like barrels and I was like, oh my God, crushing it. And I was so tired and I had like one pretty big fall, like a closeout barrel. And then I remember just sitting on the ski and I was like, that's like right when Billy got his good wave and stuff. And I was just like, oh, I wish I had a little more in the tank right now.
Not an ounce of dopamine left.
Like, dude, I went back out and I remember like I struggled to get over like this set because I was just so tired and it was getting bigger. And then I just like this other wave came and I just like went. And I remember just like, yeah, like you said, like just out of feelings. Like I didn't even feel anything. It was just like autopilot. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going. Like, and I like stalled. Like I almost got barreled. And I was like, it was a pretty big, scary one. And I was just like, whoa, like I wasn't even thinking. Like I need to be done.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about wipeouts on that. Did you have any that day, or this is a question for either of you guys?
I had one. When I went back towards the end of my session, I had gotten a lot of barrels, but I wanted to get one that was like unmakeable. So I found one that was unmakeable.
Didn't I tell you to go on that one?
Yeah. Well, that was the kind I was already going, and you like, you know, because it looked like a straight closeout. Because it was like every wave you go on when it's good looks like a closeout.
Yeah, but after you fell, you blamed it on me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
But we were pushing each other deeper and deeper. And like, yeah, because Tory got like, 3 or 4 barrels and Tyler got like 3 or 4. And then I had a bunch. And then it was like, and then Kaipala got his.
Later.
Yeah, he got his after I fell actually. But I wanted one that was just like, that I had to work for. And I remember I like took off on that one. I looked at it, I was like, it looks like a complete closeout. And I was like, yeah, but all my waves have. And then I pumped, and it was like pretty much a closeout. And I almost pulled, like, you can see there's a photo of me like this, like before I even get in the barrel. And then I let go and like gave a pump, and it spit, and I like actually made it so far to the end. And I was like, I watched that wave so many times. I was like, oh, that wasn't that far from being like the one. And then I got pretty smoked. But
the one in the earlier session too, that you made it all the way to the very, very end. The
the
long
small
one.
one,
Yeah. That was nice.
Did you fall that session? You fell on the wave after Billy's good wave.
I did, yeah. I hit my in the barrel too. It was like one of those super west ones as well, and I was like, oh, I think I want to make her
terrible. Dude.
Oh, it was so foamy.
It was just after like one of the bigger sets of the day. Second wave is all the foam on the face.
I remember looking at it, it looked like it just a left. I was like, all right, I guess we're packing this thing. Maybe.
Dude,
but I made it far, and then
made it out of the barrel on your back. It was like one of the craziest things I ever saw.
Body surfing.
Body surfing.
He went over the foam ball like where everyone else would have jumped. Like, okay, I'm in a closeout. Got to jump, get away from this board. And Tory like slid out and then like kept going and then like slid out again over the foam ball like it was like a 4-footer at back door, and then fell out on his back like out of the barrel. And it was literally like a closeout. Like I couldn't believe that.
You see daylight, I count that as a mate.
Yeah.
And then I hit my hip on my board super bad. I put this huge rail ding on my hip, and that's why I went in, because Sean was in the. He was on the ski with Paige, and he's like, let's just get some tape and tape it. And he was like taping my board up like in the channel. It's like, like water, and there's like freaking wet everywhere. There's like waves washing. He's like taping it. And he's like, I was just like, wow, this guy is the man. Like, he's working so hard for it. We got on a boat, and he like patched it up. And then that's when I went back out, and I think you went out, and that's when that Zane wave came in, and then it blew out pretty fast after that.
It was just bumpy and scary, and it was just
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
That
go.
was a good day.
Let's go to the next swell, the Eddie swell. Where were you guys? And let's talk about that sesh. That was the biggest moment of the. It wasn't the perfectest one, but it was the biggest moment of the winter.
Well, it's kind of the same thing. We knew there was gonna be a short window before it got too windy, but we also knew like, oh my god, it's gonna be. We didn't know how big it was gonna be. Remember, like, thought it might be small.
It was all over the place.
But then when we saw the buoy readings, like right before bed, it was like what 22 at 27 or something
27.
crazy.
It was a 27 reading.
Yeah, like as big as I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And we went out super early.
And more west too. Yeah.
Way more west.
Yeah.
Like
extreme. The west just as good.
Yeah.
Like for how big those buoy readings, that it should have been way taller, but it was so west it just started compressing.
Thick.
The girth just started growing.
That was, I feel like from those two swells, you kind of figured out what was good for jaw. Like that first swell was like straight down the middle, and then that swell was so west, and it was like not as good. Like a lot of waves were like pinching and then opening up, and I feel like it was too west, whatever that was.
It was also like the period. It was like too gurgly, like.
Oh my god! Remember the next day?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that morning it was not that big when we paddled out, like not that tall, but you could feel the energy in the water on it was on a different level than the other swell.
Moving.
Just the way the like lines were stacking just miles down the coast either way, like the indicators were so obvious. It was just like you could see the sets coming from like a mile away, and they were just sucking like because you can see it when like there's enough energy in the wave, it pulls even when it's windy, because that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, even if it's windy, it's going to be like big enough to be pulling the sheet. That's where it just like pulls enough water off the reef to where it's smooth, even if it's choppy. And it was doing that where you could like pull so much water that you can almost see the contour and shape of the reef, like when a set comes.
I saw one like choke one off.
Yeah, and that's like when it goes like actually like below normal sea level. But we had just a short window.
But we had hope it wouldn't blow out after that first one.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe it won't.
Yeah,
this one's at least northeast. The wind.
I got one wave in the beginning, and then Tory got a barrel that he almost made, and then Kaipala the Grom got like the best barrel. One of the better just barrels. Like it wasn't the tallest wave ever, but one of the better barrel rides I've seen out there for sure.
One of the longest for sure.
Yeah, and
so
deepest.
Sick. Yeah, and deepest. And he just did that in our face.
Yeah, freaking
I
grown.
watched the whole thing.
On your board?
On my board, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty sick though. It was such a cool moment.
It was
and
such
now
a
it was
sick
like
moment.
the Eddie was on, so there was no one there. It was 5 of us in the lineup.
Yeah.
And it's like you feel small out there regardless, but like when there's just 5 of you and it's like you're getting blown around and you're getting pushed around by like the 20 whatever second energy, you feel so small. Like when those, and after Kaipala's wave, that's when it was like still kind of small. Then sets started coming. I probably caught the biggest wave, one of the bigger waves I've ever caught, I think. Definitely like one of the scariest. The one after Kai's.
Was that the airdrop like chandelier knife?
Yeah.
The super gnarly knife one?
The one like kind of side slip.
Yeah, that
The
was
thick one.
Yeah,
She was thick.
she was tick.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one of my favorite rides the whole year, even though I didn't get barreled.
That day was so scary to tell someone to go on a wave.
Yeah, that was the one.
Like,
I didn't hear it go.
yeah, I remember like going, I don't know. The wind was like kind of coming up.
Like,
And it was
so
big.
hard. You had to be, and when the wind's like that, you have to be so under it to like. Because I remember telling Franny to go on a similar wave to mine, and he was so under it, and then he ended up on top of it sideways and going over the falls.
Yeah.
It was like the wind just pulling up the face and all the water pulling up the face. Like you're fighting every element just to get down.
Yep.
It's so loud.
It was really hard
one of those windy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not
and
tell
then-
you to go on that one at all.
Especially like one of the scariest things ever out there is when you either like kind of paddle for one and pull back, or you just like barely scratch over a big windy one. Then you have like 5 seconds where the spray is coming down and you can't see anything. And you're just like, you don't know what's coming next. Yeah. And
It got windy
sometimes
fast that day too.
those are the best waves, and like the way to catch a good one on those windy days is you have to just sit in that spray and be like, I'm in the spot. Like, I'm not gonna freak out. I can't see, but like
Hold him.
That scene in Gladiator.
Hold it. Yeah.
hold.
Yeah. Is that Braveheart or 300?
That was Braveheart.
Yeah.
Both.
That whole that September swell in the afternoon when it went really huge after Dorian got his, when Healy got his, there was like a huge set. That was one of the most punk rock things I've ever seen. That was one of the biggest sessions I've ever seen. I saw that set and I bolted for the horizon.
Yeah.
I went straight out. I'm like, Healy, there's a set. And I just remember looking back and he was just head down, not looking at the horizon. It was the most punk rock thing. And he whipped it and he got to the bottom and got exploded. But it's like a 25 foot.
Yeah, it's because he just watched Shane catch that wave.
Yeah, he was so mad.
Yeah.
He was just grinding his teeth.
Think of Shane. Oh,
But yeah,
crazy.
I mean that day
Good
too.
now.
I kind of wish I stayed and tried to tow. Ollie towed into a wave and ate shit. And we lost my tow board, which might have been a good thing because it. Did you tow it that evening? Yeah, that was as big as.
It was the biggest and it was the gnarliest I've ever seen it. It was kind of the friskiest where you explained it was the swells were so long you couldn't read what the bull was doing at the end of it. You were like, we're trying to be on the deep peak, but you're reading what's going on out. It was just so hard to see what the bull was going to do.
It was just like, it turns like it's not really like a North Peak or a West Bowl. It's just one giant
Double spitter.
dumping. And you like almost can't even get up into the barrel because it like that ledge, it would barrel and then fill up and then like double up and dump again. Even a couple of our paddle waves were kind of almost doing that where it's like, wow, and then it like close up and then dump again.
And we don't have the best track record at towing too.
Yeah, we suck
Remember the
at
last
towing.
time
Let's do that. It's its own discipline, right? But why weren't you guys out there towing that day? Because you lost the board and that's it? I'm just going to run with that excuse?
No, I probably would have maybe... If I saw how big it got, and I didn't realize it was going to be like that historic, like I would have wanted to have a dig at a huge wave, like just to see, just because it's fucking fun to go that fast.
Yeah.
Like that was like, because I'm on like the firm belief that there's almost no day you can't paddle out there. Like I really think if you're on it enough with your lineups and far enough under it and have the right equipment, you can paddle almost any wave out there. But that was one day I wouldn't have.
What about the wind though?
The wind, like, even when it's 30 feet in trade
You
wind,
think so?
if you're committed and under that chip,
If you position yourself,
It's
like,
harder
you can
for
get
the
into
wind.
any wave out there, I guess.
You could catch any wave out there if you were like,
They kind of catch you.
yeah. If you did, you'd have to be flawless though. Like it's like freaking free solo. Like you got to be perfect, like on that day. But
there's
I remember
big
the-
30, 35 foot, whatever you want to call those waves out the back. If you want them, they're 5-wave sets. Like,
No. Yeah, we should have towed that day actually.
because as a fan of surfing, at the end of the day, it's fun to see what Kai's doing high performance surfing, and I'd love to see after, because going from paddling, then going under the rope and knowing the wave too, and you read the wave. Like for me, it's like, okay, this is where I was. There's that boil. Like you're kind of
Helps a lot, huh?
It really helps a lot, and I'd love to see what you guys would be doing, big hacks and airs and on the tow board. And
yeah,
Yeah. I think we thought about doing it, but then the board got lost, right?
Yeah, we
that
were
was like
gonna
the biggest
try.
problem. The other problem was it was supposed to be glassy the next day too, and we were like, we're gonna paddle the next day.
yeah.
And then the next day,
The next day was so gnarly. But you could tell, like, even the next day, the water was dirty, like, not because it rained or anything, just because it was that big. That it, like,
Yeah.
churned up stuff
That
like
night.
that hadn't churned up in years.
yeah,
dude, I remember watching the lip of waves come in, and it was like there was a backwash through them. Like it looked like a backwashy day at Pipe. You know that it looked, but like on like a 25-foot wave that morning.
reverberations coming off the cliff.
And it was like, this is when the swell is supposed to be dropping, you know? Like,
Yeah.
You know when it's big too, when that current line starts coming off of like Cave A side of the channel, and it's just like ripping out to sea.
yeah. That day was so dangerous. It was impossible to tell your friend to go on a wave that day.
The second
Day after the eddy, I swear I've never seen a lip on a big wave move so much like that.
Oh yeah, it was
Remember
so
that? It was, like,
wonky
so
because it was
wonky.
super high tide in the morning too. Yeah,
That swell was just so raw.
yeah,
That was crazy.
that was the most energy I've ever seen in a swell.
Yeah.
Like hands down.
Yeah, there's those couple sets in the afternoon that came in that Sean got. Potcher got one of them too on this kite.
Yeah.
It was just like, they were all channel. It was crazy. Like they're like standing up as big as they're ever stand in the channel.
I know Pache needs that was a world record.
He's caught a world record
He's
wave.
been trying to enter in Guinness world record because the current one is this guy out of Nazarene. It's like 20 feet smaller, like pretty blatantly obvious. But he's like, "How'd you do it?" Like he hit the guy up. He's like, "How'd you do it?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know."
I'm not telling you.
But that, yeah, because that was like a record-setting day, just all around. Like Sean's wave is probably, that photo is as gnarly as any wave I've seen towed out there.
Yeah.
Trevor told me he didn't even want it. They were actually in position.
Really?
He's like, I was over it. And those guys, and they were actually caught it from the channel. They came from the channel and like whipped it into it.
That's all you'd want. Yeah, it's so gnarly though. I swear I don't. That's the other thing with towing, that why I haven't really done it is I haven't spent enough time dialing in my tow boards. I don't really trust them like the way I do my board, like my paddleboard, because I've spent 10 years fine tuning that.
I don't know anything about towing. I've towed like twice in my whole life.
No, but you're not. I want to push back and say that your guys' natural surfing instinct will read the wave, but then you probably maybe your second guess because you will pull on that 30-footer.
That's always the problem too, because I always feel like I'm either outrunning a wave or I'm
Too deep.
and breaking my ankle, which I did the last time I towed. So
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
On that super swell?
a couple of years ago,
Yeah, we outran a couple and then we both went too deep, and I broke my nose and you broke your ankle.
Those are like some chattery ass waves you guys are pulling into too.
They're super chattery.
Yeah.
Fall ball, just So I don't know. I mean, I always have a theory. I don't know. It's kind of a funny theory, but I always tell myself, and maybe it's an excuse, but if you're not meant to paddle into something, maybe you shouldn't be riding it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my theory. Sometimes I think that, but
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think it's a good pre if you haven't gone out there and paddled it for sure. And I think it's funny. This is the last winter. I don't know if you guys don't go down to Sprex, but there's definitely a big, maybe it might be the foil scene, but there's a huge crazy resurgence of dummies with jet skis right now.
Well, it's COVID. Everyone moved here and bought a jet ski.
Yeah.
But no, I've definitely seen
brought
it.
back toe surfing as well.
Yeah.
Because a couple years ago during those El Ninos, there was plenty tow days and nobody
there's
was
so
towing.
many, yeah.
And there's like
Yeah.
big windy days and everybody would give up and wave the flag and there'd just be like 30 feet empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you progressing or degressing? That's what, like, I don't know.
I think
It's two different sports,
It's
I
a
guess.
discipline in itself,
Yeah,
yes.
for
It's two
sure.
different sports. But I think what they can go hand in hand.
For sure.
And
It is. I feel like what Kai Lenny is doing is definitely progressing the sport.
Yeah.
And there's waves that, you can't physically paddle into, for sure, in the world. There's waves at Chopes and Tavarua, and there's a couple waves at Jaws that you can't probably physically get into.
Yeah.
Unless, I know you think there is. Nazare, there too. There's a couple of those big waves that you probably can't get into and make.
I think,
I
but you're
don't
also.
wanna run
I think you can, but you're starting to split the difference of odds, right?
Yeah.
Like what are your odds of survival?
I
What
mean,
are your
it's-
odds of
Yeah.
getting caught inside? What are your odds of
You can get
making
caught by
that
any
run?
wave, right?
Like, I can go sit under that thing and start paddling, but
Well, that's
Actually, the
thing.
bigger it is, the easier to get caught.
For me, toe surfing, the risk to reward is very rarely in balance. Like, I don't get the satisfaction from towing into a wave, even if it's a crazy ride, that would make it worth.
You'd have to get really barreled.
You'd have to get really barreled. But even like the barrels, like,
But you guys
You
are such
outrun 'em.
junkies already. That you're dragging. You've been chasing that drag, and your bar's so high.
yeah, that's what I mean.
You're just like, there ain't nothing. That thing's flat. Come on, dude.
You're like, wow, that was a real fast jet ski.
Well, it's like I swear, when you like tow into a wave and you make it, it almost feels like nothing happened. Like, to me, it's like
That's the
like,
only feelings I've had. Yeah,
Like, did I even ride that wave? It's either nothing happened or I got smoked,
exactly.
or it's like I don't know.
Way to poo-poo my big old toe hips. Thanks, bro.
Not like nothing happened. I mean, it's like
Just because we're
but
kooks
you're
at toe surfing.
We suck at toe surfing. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, we'll totally admit it. There's no pride.
Those couple waves I got that Eddie day though, I swear I had to use everything in my.
No, that's what I mean. It's like
I learned in surfing to make that wave and ride it because it was so bumpy and I was going so fast and the consequences of eating shit were so crazy. And I finally did eat shit. And
See, I've never been on a
really
wave.
got hurt. And,
Yeah.
But I was just like, and like there was a couple we kicked out on because you just look at the ramp. They weren't sheeting tight and they were still like these just so big and double up. We're like, no, I just
see, the risk to reward it just doesn't add up for me that much because it's like it's so gnarly, like to go on one of those waves and then like I'm not well versed in even how to control a tow board, and then I don't know, I just not good enough at like riding tow waves, and then
You're selling yourself short. I'm calling bullshit.
dude, I swear I'm not that good at it. I towed the one like windy day when it was like small and I was trying to do like cars. I did like one decent car, but then I like airdropped and like my foot fell out of the strap. And I was like, dude, I'm kooking it. Like, what the hell am I doing?
Definitely have to get solar dialed and really like your fins and get your straps right where you want them.
Yeah.
Dude, I was ripping on a tow board. Remember those airs I was doing? A couple of times I caught a couple waves and I was like, wow, I want to see how Kai does this. Like try to actually do an air.
Yeah.
And I
did
would
a
just
little
landed
bang
on my back every single time like this. Like, what? This is harder to do an air with a tow board than it is with a regular board.
Well, here's yeah, it's completely hard. So I sat with Travis where I sat where you guys were, and I had a talk story with him, and I asked him. The question was, do you think you can nail your signature trick at Jaws if you gave it a season? And he just said no right away. One of the main reasons was because there's hardtails on surfboards. There's no flex, and he's like, trying to read a moving tranny is just so different from what he is. A stable tranny that he's trying to read with powder and a flex board. He claims the flex is his third knee, and even if he gets extended and in trouble, he knows he can break a board and at least use the flex of the board to save himself from busting his knees.
Wow.
Yeah, but what do you could argue that the water is your third knee.
No,
If you-
hard water.
Yeah, no, but that's the one thing I've thought about with towing is like there's been a couple. Kai's like tapped into it. He did like one that was like kind of a proper air where it was really in the wave. Most of them were just like flat little tricks.
It's pretty sick though.
I mean, yeah, it's freaking super hard to
lot
do
of
and
balls to
like
do it.
takes some
Huge.
balls to do. But I mean, like
before you drop into 30-foot
to where you like did it where you actually really use the wave as a ramp, like not just like a chop.
Yeah.
Like I've thought of that a lot. That's one thing in tow surfing I've wanted to do, because I've seen like the West Bowl where you could just do something.
The sky over the whole West Bowl and come down to the
Not even like, I think you'd go right out of the corner and like almost in the barrel you'd have to be like bottom turning. I thought about it a lot and just do a big, I'd want to do a stale
Is it
finish cork.
A loop cork coming back down?
Yeah, it'd be like
Double
a,
on the wide.
what do they call it? A crippler.
What's the deal with landing though? Like, is gnarly? Is landing?
If you landed in the tranny, you'd be fine. But it's like another thing. Like, it's like paddling a giant one out there. Like, you'd have to be almost perfect to like really do it.
Right.
It's so easier. It's much easier to case it, I think, in the surfing side with the hardtail.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's also like, I think you'd end up going out of the back more than anything.
With the wind and everything.
With the wind and everything, like to hit where you'd want to land in the right spot, you'd literally have to be heading like inverted, and like
wind.
to have the freaking balls to do that would be something else.
Uh-oh. GoPro angle's done.
All right.
All right, overheated.
Now we can say what we really think.
No, that was so cool. Let's, 2 questions. I guess the first one was, give me your guys' best definition of true, like, where's cutting edge surfing? Is it Medina doing tech airs in the contest, or is it surfing slabs and what you and Burke or the Chopo kids are doing, or tech airs at the lanes?
I think there's not one summit in surfing, really.
Yeah, it's both, huh?
I think like there's stuff I've seen Matt do where he's hitting like a 6-foot wave that's like over shallow reef, and he's hitting a section, and he's, you know, you're risking not death like you are in big waves, but you have to be almost perfect to like land it with like, yeah, because if you mess up, you're blowing out a knee, you can break a leg, you can hit your head. I mean, you could hit your head, get knocked out, and freaking be bummed. But like, there's definitely like only a couple surfers who push air surfing to the point where you get to that like cutting edge of like where you start getting into like the realm of like human potential. Like that's what I really like want to see in sports, and I feel like every other sport does that besides us, or like not does it, but applauds it more. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious paddling big jaws is, I mean, what else is
Big
close?
jaws on a small board.
Paddling
Big
big
small
jaws,
boards
like you can
are-
go out there and just take my, I don't think what I'm doing is cut it edge, but go out there on 11 footer and try and catch the 25 footer out the back.
It's still pretty damn close to cutting edge, dude.
Definitely cutting edge. Definitely risking your life.
What you guys, I'm just like, I'm being humble about it, but I just look what you guys are doing on the West Bowl to what I'm doing over there on the left. Is just, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's both cutting edge.
but yeah, I mean, we were talking about it mostly with like the new generation of kids, is like what we're doing, yeah, is like pretty cutting edge right now, but we had to like figure all this shit out in the last 5 years since we started paddling it, like what boards to ride, what fins to ride, all these vests, all this stuff. And to like imagine being like a 19-year-old kid now, and that's just normal. Like the first time you paddle out there, that's already like the norm.
Yep.
So that's
And
like,
people have already done it too.
and it's like, yeah, you already know
way.
what can be done.
Somebody's already made the mistakes.
Yeah,
And
like we
made
did.
The rise of their, and made the rise of their life too.
You know, like there's been so much research like done already, like to get to where we are,
Yeah.
that I think this next generation is gonna like really do some crazy stuff out there.
It's pretty nuts. The kid now has to be a pro surfer. It has to be, you got a knife, 12 footer, jaws and pipe and jaws, and be able to do 360 airs like Matt.
Yeah. Well, no, dude, you can just do a couple snaps and be on the QS and CT, dude. You don't have to do any of that. That's the hard way. I think to be a professional free surfer, you got to do that. You got to be that gnarly, but There's some pretty boring competition surfers that make a lot of money.
You can charge super hard too and still do pretty well with it.
Yeah, name 3 people make a living charging.
I don't know. No one.
No one. It's working. All the
Just
best big wave
charging.
surfers, I think, are working class or entrepreneurial.
I think it's pretty cool though now that
They're
like,
hustlers.
yeah.
Whether they're renting cars or selling pearls or
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
For sure. But when we first started doing it, like it was pretty cool because like there was like big wave surfers and then there was like small wave surfers, right? And then a guy like, you know, Albee who does crazy airs and charges like that. Now that's like, I don't know, that's a whole different specimen. Like to me, like when I think of pro surfer that I always would want to be, that would be like the most well-rounded. Shane was like that too.
Yeah.
And I think it's John, yeah, but they weren't like focused on like, you know, John was.
I still don't think like that
stuff.
doesn't even.
But I think it's so sick. Like
it's so sick.
So important.
Well, yeah, I mean that's.
And it makes you better on a big wave. Like look how fast Shane, I don't know, just caught the waves, the best waves ever.
There's technical skill, right?
So much technical skill involved.
The mix of a big wave surfer, right? There's the knowledge, the skill set, the courage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even a lucky charm in the back pocket too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you
And
can see
support, maybe.
you can have just knowledge and like big wave skill. Like you don't have to be a great surfer and courage and still get a pretty crazy ride. But you definitely, I think it hasn't happened yet where like people are going to start noticing the details in big waves. Cause there's going to be so many there's so many like that section like we have, there's so many barrels and stuff. We're going to start noticing like, oh my God, like that guy like drew a crazy line, like, and then he came down and then he like, you know, almost like did a turn after. Like, I think those details are going to start like becoming noticeable.
I love those ones when like Tyler gets super high. You ever see those when they're like,
Yeah.
they're almost like going over the falls, but
Oh my God.
back down.
So sick.
Yeah.
Guys had a few of those.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have. Those are like pretty technical.
It's funny too. Like I remember at least like the first time I ever surfed Jaws, and I didn't surf big waves that much. Surf line May a couple times, barely. But I remember the trippiest thing about Jaws was how the angle of the wave that you have to take to make it. Like every other big wave I've ever surfed before that, I would just make the drop.
Yep.
And you make the drop at Jaws, and the lip lands on your head every time. I mean, you witnessed all my first sessions. How many times did that happen to me? Like
Yeah,
over
just
and
straight.
over and
Stop doing
over.
a bottom turn.
Yeah, and it's like,
Go across.
yeah, but it's I've never surfed a big wave that's like that in my life, where you're literally just shooting it towards the channel. And another thing too is like how closed out the wave looks like. I remember the first time I ever surfed Jaws, I was like, dude, this is like a wave at backdoor, but these guys are way too deep and they're making the wave. It's just like, I don't know, it pulls back so much. It's so much different of a feeling than like a Waimea or any other kind of big wave I ever experienced. It's weird. It feels like you're too deep on every wave if you're
Yeah.
gonna go with that mindset.
Especially like I remember the first couple years because like we were towing it before and then it was like I remember being so far on the channel my first couple paddle waves and then being like, okay, then just being like, it's just like the speed difference is so crazy. That's another thing with towing. Like you really have to look like a closeout if you're gonna get barrel towing or be anywhere near the barrel.
The wave is just so fast.
I just love the funniest old story of your old tow days. You'll probably laugh at me for this one, but I think it was one of your guys' very first sessions. It was one of those days when like the three of you guys would be out on the ski.
Oh yeah.
I think I was with Ty or Kiva. It was just probably like a 15-foot windy day, and there was just a handful of us out there. And we were there, and I think you guys were in position, but we just went. And we're like, fuck you, Gromit. And I remember you're like fucking so mad at us.
I think I remember. I think I remember that day.
And I'm just coming back to eat it. It's really good. 20 years later.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No, that's why I'm so glad those tow days are. Dude, they were so gnarly with the crowds out there. That was so brutal.
That's one of the funnier things I think about tow surfing. It's funny. We'll come back to it. The NASCAR part of it, and just having to have the aggressive driver to like to get a wave.
Yeah.
And like the dummies are like trying. I'm not calling you guys dummies. They're like other guys.
Oh, we were at that time.
You're just like
100%.
you're like, bro, there's so many guys that come out there just because they're like, I got a trigger and I can get deeper than you. Like, no. But if you want to go behind me, a big wave, go for it. We're going.
That's it. Yeah, it was like about who was in front of you when you were towing, right? I remember the first time I ever towed it, I watched Larry catch 3 of the biggest waves that came in the whole day within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 and then he was done. Those were the 3 biggest waves of the whole day.
He probably had a time too with his buoy readings.
Yeah.
Like, be there at 12:35.
Yeah.
The biggest steps of the day are going to come in.
It was crazy.
I got questions next for this, the most entertaining stuff that regular people can relate to, wipeouts and injuries and all that stuff. Obviously, we know you've had a couple good ones. Describe a couple good ones, I guess, and where do those things? What's next, and how do you recover from those? I guess.
Well, my biggest for me, I've had like a couple different like cuts and bruises and whiplash, and almost broke my neck once. But
I was witness for that one too.
Yeah, that one sucked. But the biggest thing is I've noticed over the last couple of years is like the head trauma, like the collective head trauma over the years, and then it all came to a head for like one big wipeout. Long story short, I had like a year of different symptoms, like ranging all the way from just like having trouble with conversations, like not being able to be in a room with like 2 people for the first couple of months. Like 2 people talking would spin me out and you get like nauseous and stuff. To like a year later, I was having like panic attacks and stuff. Like that was all kind of stemming from that injury. I've done a lot to take care of it from all kinds of stuff. I was on antidepressants at one point. I like anti-anxiety medication. I did this like, the best treatment I ever did was wave neuro, where they like electric stimulate your brain. I'm actually gonna go do another round of that, I think. But yeah, I think that's the heaviest injury. I mean, you can obviously drown and die and all that stuff, but that's one that's we're kind of noticing more and more is every time you fall out there, it's a concussion, like guaranteed, like on one scale or another. And the collective of over the years of hitting is gnarly. It catches up with you. But I mean, I'm still okay. Kinda.
What about the ones that aren't the concussion wipeouts, but they're like, I have this funny theory, so I've had a handful now. Even that last one of Jaws where I got hurt, it wasn't even that bad, but it's funny. But once you get a couple good wipeouts, you'll probably attest to this. You get a couple good wipeouts under your belt, you're like, I got this. I can actually handle this. And then you're kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're lying to yourself or you're actually walking away from the car wreck and the snake eyes didn't come up.
Yeah.
And we were just dummies, ignorant to the dangers of it.
I survived.
Yeah,
I can survive again.
It wasn't that bad, actually. I just went over the falls on a 30-footer, but I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's totally like the wipeouts it could be a huge one too. I've had it happen in like one of my biggest waves I ever caught. I remember I made it into the barrel and like pulled into a closeout. If you do that, sometimes you can get away with it and you don't get that pounded. I mean, you get pounded, but like.
Was that the one during the event when they called it off?
Yeah, when they called off the event. I remember just like.
Huge one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Did
think
you
that was
wrestle
big.
your board in there too?
Yeah.
The board came back to you? Were you climbing your leash underwater?
Yeah, my board whacked me at one point, but like barely. I mean, that's the biggest danger is whacking your board. But no, you can just like get away with it. And that's almost scarier because you see guys do that and then they paddle back out and they're like ready to go on anything. Just dripping adrenaline from their ears. Just like, I did it.
Actually kind of happened to me when I first started Jaws.
One of those.
The first real time I ever surfed Jaws was that Aaron Gold Day. And that was like, I'd never seen waves like that in my entire life. It was the scariest, biggest waves. Just, barrels you could fit houses in. And I was just like, okay, I gotta get one, but I'm so scared. And I got caught by a set and I got pounded.
You got sucked over by like a 30-footer, not just caught by a set. Like paddled over it and then just went over slowly, sitting on his board.
Yeah.
Never
On
even
like a
seen anyone
10-6.
do that, like ever since or before.
Do you have the clip of that?
Yeah.
We gotta show that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's something special.
It is pretty good. And
walk us through it. Come on.
well, I was out for like 2 hours at that point, right? And I hadn't even caught a wave yet. And I was just like,
it was packed that day too.
It was pretty packed. And I was just...
Not a lot of people going, though.
No, there wasn't. If you wanted a big one, that's the cool thing about big wave surfing, right? Usually most places, if you want a really big one, you can usually get it, especially Jaws. But I remember just being like terrified, but I wanted one, and I never got like... Just the commitment that you have to catch a wave at Jaws is so much different than any other place. And dude, I was straight up scared. I was pissing my pants. It was like terrified. And then I never like experienced a wipeout out there yet, really. And I towed it before then and just outrun a bunch of waves. So I didn't know what it was like. And then I got caught. Yeah, I saw that thing coming. And I think right before that, I was like, all right, stop being such a pussy and just go on something. So I like paddled for a crappy little one. But the little ones that day were like 18 or 20 feet.
Yeah.
And I just looked back and the thing's just starting to cap. And this was like before I even knew that you're supposed to bail your board and swim under the thing. I mean, obviously you're supposed to do that. I don't know what I was thinking. All the senses were out the window, but I was like, I think I can make it over it. Like it's like a 4-footer at backdoor or something, like a sunset wave. And I did not make it over. And then I remember getting sucked backwards with my board in between my legs on like a set. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like if I survive this, like I have to catch a wave. And I remember like going like through the barrel with my board and my like between my legs, and I was just like I'm surprised I didn't castrate myself. And I survived. And then
did you kick it away?
I kind of like, I think the wave just like
ripped it.
It just ripped it. Like, yeah, it's crazy in those moments.
4 fins are just flying by your face.
Exactly. You ever think about that? Yeah. Like how lucky we've gotten from boards.
Dude, I swear sometimes you can even feel it. Like there's like a sixth sense. You can feel your board coming at you and you like put your hand up or something and just go, whoo, it's like push it away. Something you could never do consciously.
No. And then, dude, like in a normal wave, my board hits me like 100 times sometimes underwater. Yeah. And it's only a 6-0. But anyway, and then so I made it and I was like, okay, I felt it. Like that was a set and I'm alive. I have to, and then I caught some waves. And then I started going straight on waves and landing, having a whole Pacific Ocean land on my head. I was like, I don't think this is right either. This is crazy. How come this isn't happening to everyone? He's getting barreled.
You have your Waimea board too, where you're like standing like all the way on the tail, like.
Yeah. Dude, I had it rough at first, man. I was riding like 10 6s and like
A for effort, dude.
Yeah, and like I was like way back on the tail. That's like another thing too.
You guys learned how to turn those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just how far up you got to be on a board these days. Like, and you have to have the right board to do it too. So yeah, that was like my first experience. And then that board broke, and then I broke another one, and then I started riding that 8.6, and yeah, that's when I was
started to figure it out.
Yeah. So equipment matters for sure.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, it definitely does. But it wasn't easy for me. Then the next swell, I broke that board, and then I rode Co Rothman's 10.6 Brett.
Did the same thing.
And did the same thing, but like probably on one of the biggest waves I've ever caught still.
Is that the one you jumped?
Yeah.
Just like this, dude. Like, ah.
And then that board broke, and I was like, I'm never riding a board over 10 feet again. I don't care. Like, I want to be able to turn. Like, I would have like even caught that. I don't know. Maybe I could have caught that wave on that 8.6.
I was catching good waves that day. I don't know about the 8.6 though.
Yeah, that thing's. But it knifed and it turned, and that's what I wanted. And it was, yeah. You just, with those smaller boards, you just have to commit like a little bit more, I feel like. You have to, because sometimes it really feels like you're not in it, and you just have to friggin' paddle even harder. And I mean, Keith is a specimen of that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are both long arms, but I think it took a lot. I had to figure it out for a couple, but it's not, you're not paddling down the line. You're not paddling straight. You're almost paddling towards Hana to catch those big west ones. And you're like doing this, I don't know how you can describe it. Basically, you're doing like, you're going that way to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to paddle like straight into the wind, which is coming from the east, and then like hook it back to aim to the channel, like right when you stand up.
Yeah.
It is a trip.
It is a trip.
It's all counterintuitive.
Yeah, nothing about it makes sense in your brain. like at all. Like this is like everything about going on a wave of Jaws. Your brain is just like red alert. No,
fight all your instincts.
Yeah, you're literally fighting your instincts. That's what always tripped me out. I was like, dude, these waves are too big to be going on. They're closeouts. Like guys can't make these waves. And guys are getting spit out of barrels. It's a trippy one.
Well, I think we've beat all these sessions to death.
Oh, sorry.
No. You're not.
We're like on question 3.
No, it's good. Yeah, I mean, this is a rough outline at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
we touched most of those.
Yeah, we're going all over the place. That's what we normally do.
Energy.
1 to 9, and
yeah, let's talk about the 2023 pro surfer business model nowadays, and I think
you're asking the wrong guys, dude.
I don't know, but you guys are in control of your. At the end of the day, it's lifestyle design, and you guys are definitely in control of your own destiny, right? And you're right now you're doing what you want to do. At the end of the day, I think my personal theory is that the pro surfer model's dying, withering on the vine. What it is, and it's either you're like it's surfing is an entertainment sport first and foremost. It's not a ball sport, and it's how much eyes are going to be on it, and that's where. Surfing's always going to fall short at the end of the day for competing against soccer or football when there's millions and millions of eyes. And I think the other part of that is like the kit, like how much money is part of the kit, and how many units can you sell and what product. If you go look at let's say a pro motocross rider, like the kit for a pro motocross rider is 50 grand. Like amateur rider is probably 20 grand, 10 grand for the bike and 10 grand in extras of trailer and truck and bike and oils and tire and all that other stuff. And you can break down all those parts. A surfer's kit, the surfboard, leash, fins. That's it. And then at the end of the day, the
board shorts,
the board shorts part and the wetsuit, but the board shorts ends up being a fashion. It's not even what you're wearing in the core part of the sport. And so that's kind of where the fashion part has always been what's driving the sport, and then that becomes a lifestyle thing. And it's like a weird catch-22 of having to be this character that's selling a lifestyle. And we've all, I don't know we all, but you've been very outspoken on the subject on the social media side of things. Thoughts, criticisms, like what's the state of it, I guess?
It is weird because you nailed it, where it's like you're not selling the things that make you do your sport. Like, because for the longest time, still, I guess energy drinks are kind of like changed that a little bit, but your biggest company is a clothing brand.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're selling trunks for them, like when you're surfing in trunks, but people don't really they're not watching you on a wave and be like, oh, what's he wearing? Like that much, So it's like, and like surfboard, there's a couple surfboard shapers that make a ton of money and the rest all barely make any.
Yeah.
So that's like a weird thing too. And it's like, cause I saw that in skateboarding, it's like, oh, like if you're a pro skater, you get a pro deck then your pro deck sells and you get a percentage of that and you crush it. Like if you're good. And like surfers don't do that unless like literally John and like John Peisel and like JS, there's like a couple.
I think Bruce and Andy still have the highest selling pad to kind forever.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but even that, it's like you don't make that much money off of. I mean, I remember I just got a couple bucks a pad. I made like $1,000 a year, and I had the third highest at one point, and I literally made like $1,500 that year. I was like sick.
Truth be told.
Yeah. So it's like it's a strange thing, and then like there's. Yeah, it seems like now there's either a YouTube channel where you get a lot of views and then companies are willing to give you money because they see the views you get on YouTube, or you're one of the contest guys. Like, do you agree? You're like,
yeah.
What are you?
I don't even know.
You're like you're a relic, dude. You're one of the last like true pro free surfers.
So are you though.
I have one sponsor left, bro.
I sat with Ridge Lenny, and he had a really interesting take just from being Kai's brother and being who he's grown to be. And basically, it's being in control of your own media. And I think you've got a good wrangle on that. So it's basically create your production side of things.
Yeah, but it's you can say I have a good hold on it, but I don't have a good hold of what people want anymore. they just like, the YouTube thing has become like it doesn't matter that it's not quality content, it's quantity. And it's also like, you can just put a couple $1,000s behind a video and buy views. And then, like, if I was smart, that's what I'd do. I'd make a video, I'd put a couple $1,000s behind it, but.
What do you do? Is that a push, or you're buying it on an ad of a site?
It's so it pops up on when someone's watching, probably Jamie O'Brien or Nathan Florence, like it's the next video. And then like, cause a lot of people just put it on and they don't even pay attention to it and it's just playing in the background. And that's like what it is. Where it's like, there was like this golden era of surf media where we were on Vimeo mostly.
Yeah, I remember that. That was sick.
And it was like, what's the word? Oh, I forget the word, but it was fair. Like, there was no, you couldn't buy views, you couldn't do anything to push your video. It was just, you put it up there.
Quality spoke for itself.
People had blogs though, right? That was like
Yeah, people had vlogs, but it was like, still, it was just like quality. It wasn't there, you weren't playing an algorithm. No. Nowadays, everyone's just playing an algorithm, and that's like, it doesn't mean there's not good surf content. Like, it doesn't mean like John John's not making amazing videos on YouTube. It just means that's not why they're doing well. It's not because they're the best. It's because it's the algorithm is, you're playing the algorithm. Whether it's putting money behind it or you just build subscribers because you're that popular or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's a weird landscape right now, and I don't know where I don't know where my place is.
It seems like fans want to see like the insight of your life, no matter what it is, even if it's like some crappy session that you had somewhere. Like if someone's a true fan of John or Kai Lenny, they want to see what he's doing on like a daily basis, right? And that social media now opens that, like you're reality almost like TV. One of his friends. Like you can see everything he does, can live the life, that you think he's living or that he's living, and it almost makes you feel like connected with him. And it seems like it's just a total different kind of surf fan. Like it could just be people that barely even surf. Maybe they surf one time at Waco and they're like, oh, this is cool. Kai Lenny's the man. Look what he does. And they just want to like be close to that, I feel like. Where Kai Lenny is a horrible example because he puts out crazy great quality.
He's got the Red Bull.
Red Bull. But he has crazy great quality too. Yeah.
What they're doing.
For sure.
Rich also had the other point is it's more valuable for him to not have a sticker on his board. And he's just doing these campaigns over and over, and he's collecting
for brands.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of the day,
TikTok star, yeah.
He's what?
TikTok star.
He's a TikTok star.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you look at TikTok now too, it's like, it's crazy. That's the most lowest quality thing I've ever seen on social media.
The better it is, the worse it does. It's just...
Yeah, exactly. The better it is, the worse. Yeah.
I feel like we're just playing to the lowest common denominator.
The better it does. Worse it is, the better it does. You can almost think of it like that.
It is like reality TV.
It is.
We're just playing to like our worst instincts and stuff.
Just keep posting the wipeouts. That's the wipeouts.
Dude, I can't.
We all watched Maui Fever and TV. We were into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can definitely have a mindset about it. Like, I mean, obviously, like anything that I would want to put out would be my best quality surfing and lifestyle, whatever it is, But at the same time, it almost could make it easier in a way if you're like, oh, I go have a session at this wave and it sucked, and then we just talk about it and like we landed one air instead of like beating yourself to a pulp a whole year to make the best section you can, spending 20 grand on trips and everything just to make a stab of the year at it.
You get like 6,000 views and it's gone.
Yeah, 6,000 views and you lose, and and you're paying for music rights. Like, I don't know. It's, in a way, if you have a mindset of looking at it like that, YouTube's killer. You can, if you have the following and you can make money off of it, crack that code. You don't even have to put out.
Yeah, but
I remember Nathan was like, we had a couple of sessions in Portugal and he had like 3 different angles, and he's like, oh, I can make like 3 different videos off this, and they'll probably all get like 100,000, maybe even more views, or even like 500,000 views.
I watched one of Jamie's ones. It was super funny. He like had some crappy session, but he like got one barrel. He's like, okay, cool. We got the drone, we got the GoPro, we got a land, and we got the beach, and that's an edit.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, I mean, that could make it easier for you as a professional if you look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what does it do for surfing?
You're right. It does
fucking nothing. It does nothing for surfing.
It gets people like watching surfing, I guess, and then maybe they'll buy what is it, Stay Psyched Speedo or T-shirt or whatever he has.
I don't know.
Does it come in full circle though, where it's like surfing is a lifestyle? At the end of the day, it's not competitive surfing, and it's entertainment, and it's watching somebody dance on water.
At the end of the day, dude, there's not an ocean everywhere in the world, so someone watching Jamie's, YouTube series and buying his product I don't know, there's a way that it's good for surfing.
Yeah.
Because they're like
invested
into surfing in some way, you know?
But the technology being leveraged by the companies at the end of the day, or whoever's behind it is who's making money at the end of the day, or is a product being sold. And I always back in the day, I had to tell a couple of grounds this. Like they're like, I rip, I deserve a salary, I need some product. Like, okay, if they give you $2,500 a month, how many shorts are they going to sell for that return on investment? They want 10 grand worth of sales or something. They want a 10.
Yeah, but even that, like you could really crunch numbers and like get down to it on an Instagram post, and like I know how much companies pay for 10,000 views of something, like, and if it's organic, like they're getting their money's worth. Mm-hmm. That's what's crazy is I think there's so much content that they don't have to spend what it's worth for it anymore. Because like if they were gonna go and I don't know, like
the value's been saturated?
Yeah, I think the value's been saturated. Like there's just so much content that they can go and like bid a low price to get someone to do something. Because there's 50 kids on TikTok like, okay, like I'll do this for $1,000. You know, I'll do this product. And it's like,
so I guess what's the virality of that one clip, right? Like you would hold on to your double loop or before and be ready to like cash that token in.
Yeah.
And I guess that value now has dropped.
Nah, like a clip like that still has a ton of value, but it's not. It's like to who? Like to who does it have value? Like
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, because it'll get views, but then like what do those views translate to? And it's like you used to think like, oh, it's selling board shorts, but now it's like I don't know. Everyone just orders stuff online and like they don't really care that much.
No, when we were Groms, dude, I used to wear like
you'd wear your favorite surfers
because of Andy Irons. You know?
Exactly.
The Rising Sun. Like,
but it's like I think it's something where that could happen again. It's just like everyone's dumbed down is like into this terrible content and like trying to get like a quick little viral thing with a couple of views where it's like how they're not calculating the value of like say you have 5 or 10 fans on your site that are just like Tory is the man, like I'm buying O'Neill for the rest of my life because of Tory. Like, or however many it is. It might be 100 of people that watch your stuff.
I was going to say 5 or 10 would be a lot, but yeah.
No, there is. Like, that still happens in a surf shop. Because I know, like, I had to get shorts the other day. And I went in there and I was like, oh, I'm buying Salty Crew because they support Matt. Like, that still happens. That thought process is still happening all the time.
For sure.
But it's just like, I don't know, these companies are doing these like one-off advertisements and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what works or what doesn't, but.
My brother-in-law is a lead designer at Brixton. And he says it's so hard now just keeping up with design trends, because even the design trends are happening so quick and so fast. And he almost feels like it's not even happening that quick in real life, but it's displayed really quickly on the social media side.
Because it used to be like you shoot a catalog and then it comes out in like 5 months and then it's out. It's like, no, you like get the product, you send it out, poster up that night.
Yeah, no one's patient anymore. Even like when it comes to surf media, like it's almost like if you get a good wave, you almost have to like post it right
that
away.
Night.
Like that night, or like it didn't even matter or happen.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. And then you have like, you know, you can go to a thrift shop and buy a pair of O'Neill shorts for $10 that were like used maybe once. There's that thing too, where like that, I don't know. And then
that's what my nieces are all into, is thrift shops.
Yeah, everyone's into a thrift shop for a while. And then, you know, big logos were lame. I remember when I was like a Grom, big Billabong sign. That was sick. Like Andy wore that. That was cool. Like Shane would wear that.
Yeah,
like the bigger the logo, the better. Now it's like, the hipsters ruined that for us.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's like, no, that's not cool. You're supporting brands. And then
it's like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go buy Hanes t-shirts from Walmart, and it's a brand.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't have a logo. I don't know. There was like a weird that it all kind of collapsed at the same time. And then it's like,
we just have to got him.
Nice. Good job.
Welcome to the country.
Yeah.
I think the most of those, my friend has this other channel that they do drops. Basically, they'll just do limited runs of 1,000 shirts of something, and they're a little LA fashion brand. And basically, they make some really basic shit, but it's limited runs, and it's steezy, but they overprice it because it's limited, and that's how they make their
smart.
They drop it on their channel. And it's kind of like that little Supreme model. Like the Supreme drop is gonna.
Oh yeah, I hate that. I hate that company so much. It's unbelievable.
Hey, but Jamie found a way in the YouTube way to do that too. I feel like people stay psyched because of Jamie. Like they like him as and what he does. It's kind of the
Watch
same.
him
Like
walk up the beach.
Your favorite surfer thing. Like when we were kids, they're just like,
Yeah, but do they like him for his surfing though? Like,
I mean, he doesn't have to surf.
I know that's crazy though.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a pro surfer. That surfing should matter.
He does still surf, but he makes it fun.
He's a core surfer through and through. At the end of the day, like the talent's undeniable.
Yeah,
for sure. He's like one of the best surfers of all time. And Nathan's are really they're quality. Nathan and Jamie's are too. It's just different. I don't know. They're looking for that personality. I think the fans want to connect with the professionals on like a personal level, and I think YouTube is probably what makes that the easiest.
Yeah.
Although you're pretty vocal on social media, so
I know I hate it. I need to get off that.
Like vocal, so people I think know you really well.
Well, you just got to sell something at the end of the day. So how to monetize? It says how to monetize your audience, and you hit it on the head. I think is finding your 1,000, like in the business that you call it, like your 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
And like.
But that's what I mean is like, I swear I have some fans that are just diehard, like just support, like, like get behind.
Patreon.
Like so many of them.
You got your OnlyFans page yet?
God. I should start doing
getting the views.
Limited runs of stuff.
Views of those toes.
Yeah. Nathan and Jamie are great at finding those niches, dude. They've done well with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe it's not our style, but
let's bring it back.
To be said for it, for sure.
I
still think starting a YouTube's cool. Depends how you do it.
Well, here we are, right?
Yeah, I know, right? I like the way Dane does it too. It's like pretty sick.
Did you see
Chapter 11? It's super cool the way he does that.
Yeah,
it's sick. It's performance and
What's the East Coast guy? Spencer
Sterling. Yeah. He's great.
His little documentary stat was really interesting. I had no idea.
His blog was hilarious.
I remember those
blog videos?
Funny. Yeah.
At the end of the day, people just like humor. Maybe we're just not that funny.
Yeah. I know I'm not.
You're pretty funny. Do we only laugh at each other's jokes? Is that the problem?
That's the problem.
You're the man. You're so funny.
The niche audience.
You're 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
1,000, dude. Yeah.
You gotta find a way to sell to those guys.
Yeah.
Sell something. There's this one business book that I've kind of based my little business model on. And essentially is you got to learn to build something, whatever it is, some kind of unit, some type, build a product. You got to learn how to sell it. You got to sell that product. And the third part of that trifecta is leverage through technology. And if you can put those three pieces together, that's a business model. Right. And that's what the most successful business models. And that's where somebody like Jamie is. He's built this product and he's leveraged it through tech. The technology, the code is actually able to leverage it out to this bigger audience. And then he's selling things.
For sure.
He's always pitching. He's a sales. At the end of the day, he's a salesman.
Yeah.
He's selling.
And at the end of the day, you always got to be progressing, right? It's always, the times are always changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's how it is. No matter what kind of work you're doing, even as a doctor, you got to keep progressing in medical.
I have to do left behind. There's always a new product coming out that I have to be up to speed on. So Well, let's bring it back to energy and kind of like flow states, and we can kind of go back and end it on that core question. So at the end of the day, I've been really fascinated with the law of thermodynamics and the law of conversion. It's basically energy flows from one medium to the next, vibrations. It just gets passed on. It doesn't ever disintegrate. It just gets spread out into the ether of the universe. And once I started paying attention to that, you really start seeing it expressed in all different types of ways, from the very minute and micro to the macro in the universe. The most obvious one for what we're doing and as big wave surfers, that big waves start with the sun, and that actually starts with a fusion reaction, creating heat and light waves that travel across the universe. And essentially, we're riding the light when it comes down to it, and to catch those waves, which is kind of my theory and essence of what true sustainability is being in harmony with waves of energy and using them to your advantage and positively riding them. And to catch a big wave, we're actually like natural physicists, and we have to have harmony with our position and our momentum and our mind, body, and spirit to catch those waves. So kind of the core question to you guys is where does energy and law of conversions fit into your guys' lifestyle?
Well, yeah, you got to think that, like you said, energy never gets destroyed, it just gets transferred. So like when you catch one of those waves and it breaks, like that energy is finished in that form. Mm-hmm. And if you're riding one of those waves, that energy's got to go somewhere. So you think it's like you must get a piece of it, mm-hmm. right? Like, but do you think you get more if you fall?
I think you do.
Do you? Think about it. Like, would you get more energy from the wave?
Have you ever trained your nasal after? There's just all energy coming out.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah,
But you know, like, yeah. I mean, you do. You have to match the energy of the wave to catch it. But then that energy, like that wave ends. Like it ends when it hits the beach, but it doesn't end. It just goes somewhere else.
It just wraps around the island and it keeps moving.
Yeah.
It dissipates for that.
But that particular, like that apex at Jaws, like that apex of energy gets dispersed, and it's like we must be getting some of that.
Yeah, and energy off of each other as well. Someone gets a good one.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that was like coming back to that session.
Maybe that's some of the energy we get too.
There is like a group, like there are special days like that one where there is a group flow state. Like I've read a lot of books about like the flow state in the mind, and like when things start working where you're able to do things you can't consciously and stuff. And like, you can see it as like the energy of the entire group. Like it can happen with one wave where it energizes the entire group, and then everyone's just like lifted up, and then all of a sudden things start flowing and moving like in a different way just because that one first wave happened.
For sure.
Or you can have it like a wave like Nathan's where he gets hurt and sucks the energy out of like the whole lineup, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Or when someone gets hurt really badly. Yeah, exactly. It totally does. I think for me, those three swells that was like a great testimony to energy. First swell was just like everyone was getting good waves, and it was like this really special moment. Like, with DeMarcio swell with the dolphins, like there was some special stuff that was going on that day that it's kind of hard to put into words, but it definitely felt different. And then that next Eddie swell, at least for me, was the complete opposite. Yeah. It was just...
There was more energy than we were able to handle.
Exactly. I was just, 100%. And that's such an interesting thing, the energy thing. I think we totally get energy from the ocean and the waves.
Yeah, I think we take it for granted too. We don't think about it as much.
Yeah, it's cool to think about it actually, because I tend to not think of it.
On even just a chemical reaction level, I swear just stepping into the ocean changes just the temperature alone. Temperature is a big part of
100%.
or a major catalyst of chemical reactions. And just changing your temperature a half a degree, those things. And there is a charge to the ocean.
For sure.
And those waves have a charge in themselves.
Well, yeah. And like Tory knows, about as far from spiritual as you get. But, like it is like crazy to think like we lost one of our friends, Marcio, like, and just like you said, energy doesn't get destroyed. Like it just, his energy left his body in the ocean. So it's like that energy is still out there. And it's like, I don't know. There's something to that. And it's like almost it like came back to us. And
Yeah.
well, yeah, I have my tattoo together in the seat. That was what I was thinking of. Because like we lost Kalani and Marcio like in the same couple months, but it's like, yeah, you know, like if you pass away in the ocean, same with Jeff. It's like your energy's out there, like it's not gone. It doesn't disappear. It's like your part of you is left there, and like even us when we surf it, like we leave part of ourselves out there, and you only get it back when you go back out there.
For sure.
You know, there's like something to that.
Definitely something to that. For sure.
I like that. That's a cool little thread of taking a piece of somebody's energy with you as well.
Yeah.
That, like, even if they're not here, they're there.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's where you step into those like really spiritual pieces of land.
For
that,
sure.
Like you can feel the mana.
Yeah.
There's like you ain't the first and you ain't the last to walk on that rock.
Yeah.
Right? And you just feel the energy of it, and like. But I think he touched on it when you're like those really big days of jobs and you're walking down the trail. That vibration is of that explosion. You can hear it, and it's cracking through those rocks, even on a little hum.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming sometimes. I mean, a lot of time for me anyway. Like I think we kind of get
It
it.
happens the night before even. You can hear it.
I swear though, like the most comfortable I feel is when I first get in the water and I feel the ocean, and I'm like, all right, there's something calming about it that like takes away all the stress
Yeah.
and pressure. And I don't know. I hate just to talk about competitive surfing, but that was like a big thing for me when I competed a lot. It was when I was always be really nervous before heat, always. And then I get in the water and then
It's
like
like,
find that happy place, and it was like all the stress gets washed away. And it was something like my dad always told me too. Like he's like, you know what's the coolest thing about surfing is not riding a wave or ripping or anything. The coolest thing about surfing is you're only thinking about surfing when you go surfing.
Yeah.
Every problem you have in the whole world doesn't matter when you're riding a wave. It's just like it gets washed away. I mean, obviously, it can be there.
God damn, it comes flooding back to your
Yeah.
car and you look at your phone.
Yeah, it does. Now people have their phones in the lineup, so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're running away from, but
I refuse to put an Apple Watch on just for that.
yeah,
I do not want to have a work email.
And then dude, talking about energy, what's the energy we're getting from these phones? Like just being on it constantly, right? Is it
It's taking
positive,
energy.
negative?
I don't think it's giving.
Yeah, it seems like it. And then
Coming back to Ridge, he had a really fun when I asked that same question. He actually is like, I ride a wave out there, and the vibration of that one ride actually goes out to the screen, and now 1 million kids are seeing it so far,
Yeah.
way down that.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
And then it can energize them. It gets them excited, and then they go out and ride a wave, and it like can be a snowball effect.
It's just like watching like surf videos when we were kids.
Yeah. I mean, that's what drew me to surf videos in the first place, is sharing that excitement. That's really what you are sharing, is like the energy towards surfing.
Yeah. Now it's just a lot more fast paced.
I do like,
And it like has to be. That's the problem. I think that's the biggest thing I have against it. The whole no patience. Got to see everything that's been done right now.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's what I don't like about it. Sorry, Sean.
You miss part of the actual moment
Yeah.
when you start worrying about that too much.
And when you work on a part for a whole couple of years, there's a lot of moments. People just scroll right through it. It hurts, man. It's like,
Isn't that funny?
you know how much energy I put into that?
Yeah.
You want to talk about energy?
You gotta post and goes, or post and watch the analytics in real time.
Yeah. For my 11,000 views, and this guy went on a soft top and went straight.
Yeah.
And is getting 1 million. It hurts.
Don't gotta tell me, man.
No, just keep doing what you guys are doing. It's lifestyle design, because fuck, man, with that session, I'm gonna bring it back to end it on, that was the most cutting edge shit I've ever seen. And it doesn't even, at the end of the day, it doesn't translate onto a screen. It's like you have to see that shit in real life to really truly appreciate it. Like, I know what it takes to ride those kind of waves, and to ride it at that level. I'm not trying to stroke you guys, but it's like, it's insane. Like, I've had enough eat shits to know where my limits are.
Tory has it.
Still working on that. No, for sure. But it's also like what kind of conditions it takes to make a special day like that happen. Like, that's the coolest thing about
when it all comes
like
together,
that, right? Like, I mean, like we said, we all said, we're like, dude, that was like one of the best days we've ever seen, and at least since 2016. I mean,
and there's only one or two that ever competed with it, like in the whole since we paddled it.
Yeah, and think about like how many bad sessions you could just go out there and it could be like that, and you could have a complete horrible session, be on the wrong board, and then you blew that that day, you know. So for everything to line up with the waves and yourself and your buddies getting good waves, it's
not to mention the collective of it. That session, that was what made that so special to me. It was like there was so many good waves by so many people.
Yeah, you could be JoJo in that group chat right now.
Dude, they went and chased a 20-foot Surfline Plus thing and went to Waimea Bay.
Oh yeah,
that's what it was. Dude, it was so funny coming back to that. So when the eddy got turned on, right, it was green, and Nick had been staying with me. Like, he was gonna stay with me, and I was like, dude, I'm leaving. I'm going to Jaws, but you do your eddy thing. And I remember I surfed that morning before the swell came in at Pipe, and I thought they were gonna have the condensate pipe, and they didn't. They called it off. The shootout, it was a shootout, and I surfed like all day. I didn't put sunscreen on, and my face was like the reddest face you've ever seen in your whole life. And then, and I remember being out there, and Mikey Red paddled out, and he's like, dude, they just called the eddy off. And I was like, what? And I remember the first thing I was thinking was just, no, Jaws is gonna be crowded. Because I was like in the eddy group chat because I was like a millionth alternate, and so I was just like, that was all I could think about. It was the first thing that came to my mind, and I like screamed out in the middle of the lineup at Jaws pipe about Jaws being crowded, and then Surfline, 20 plus at Waimea, and I was like,
how selfish is surfing right now?
I know, it's pretty bad.
Everybody else coming to the spot.
Oh, it's so bad. I wasn't thinking about Nick Von Rupp's second trip to Hawaii in like 4 days.
From Europe.
No, I was just like, oh man, that sucks. Jaws is gonna be super crowded. Because everyone was coming and being in Hawaii, you know, like.
Well, it is. There's just it's supply and demand, dude. There's not that many good waves. There's a lot of people who want them. So.
But that day, definitely, you could have had a couple more people out there.
It all worked out.
Yeah. And how about some of those huge waves that came in that, like, I mean, I don't know. It's so funny when I surf Jaws. I'm always like, wow, like, how much more can we push it? You know, like I always feel like I push myself pretty far, but then you see one of those waves that's like a 35-footer that's so doubled up, and like
I didn't see that many like big ones that barreled that hard though.
There's ones that spit like 2 or 3 times from way deep.
Yeah, but they're all like, I swear the waves that spit aren't even, I mean, we're getting off, but I swear they just go almondy up top. That's what makes them spit. That's why the North Peak always wins Ride of the Year, because they get all big to small and they spit.
That's the way
it's all dramatic.
Where's the backsider? Come on.
Where the West ones just grow and just breathe. They don't spit.
Another crazy thing about surfing Jaws is every time you look back, a wave is spitting. So you think you've blown every wave you pulled back.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling ever. You're like, oh my gosh, it's spit. You watch the footage and it was like a whitewater spit. Just the wave just always spits. It's a weird one. But yeah, kind of off topic, but yeah.
All in all, that was a special day.
All in all, that day was spitting every wave. So if you pull back.
Here's a funny that popped in my head. It's almost depressing. Healy actually summed it up, like, how many of those days are really you going to have in your lifetime? If you really want to, like, those special days.
About like a dozen.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Like
dude,
ish.
That day totally ruined the eddy swell for me.
Yeah.
The one that they actually had the eddy on, that day was so perfect and so much better that it just like, if we would have had that first eddy swell, I think I would have went way harder. But then after seeing it, you know, a week before and how perfect it was, I was just like, oh, this wave's not as perfect as that one that I committed to. And then I just didn't go. You were on a whole different level though. You were like you were trying to kill yourself.
I lost my job. And my check.
Full send.
I was going full send.
You didn't lose Jaws, bro.
She'll always be there.
She still got me.
She still got you.
Well,
and he still got her. No, that was one of the craziest performances I've seen. from anyone.
Well, cool, man. I thank you guys for sharing. That was a good little intimate look at what it takes to the behind the scenes of that. Oh no, just you guys did one little 5-minute edit of it, and I felt like it needed a little more deeper voice to it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Instead of a
how many views did we get on that?
Dude, that did bad. It did bad.
Did it?
Yeah, it's because freaking Tucker, who gave us all the footage. He put out one that night with like massive waves. See, that's what I mean. Bunch of keywords, way worse at it. But the keywords on point. Sorry. You were summarizing it in a positive manner.
We love Tucker though.
No, we love Tucker. But yeah, I know what you mean though. That month was special. And it's like in like a day and age where everything just gets cycled through so quickly. It was good to like kind of relive it and talk about it a little more.
For sure.
You guys just got so frothed out. Are you kidding me?
No.
I know, dude. My head's about to explode.
I'm starting to remember.
So psyched
dude.
right now. The energy, dude. I'm getting the energy back.
Let's go surf up Keepa, dude.
We're on.
Well, thank you guys. I think we nailed it. We got
so
more
much,
than enough to go through there, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do me a favor. We sit right here and look at the camera and give us a
Shaka.
I'll just do a free up.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Wow, you look short for one.
Crouching.